taking care of your health is one of the most important things in life. There are a lot of organs that you have to look out for, but none that are more important than your heart. Our heart is the engine that keeps us going, and taking care of it is essential for a high-quality life. 99% of you probably ensure you take care of the major problems in your body, like a cold, headache, or fever. But sometimes, our bodies might send us subtle warning signs that something isn't quite right. But before I get into them, I just want to say that this video is not a substitute for professional medical advice. If you do experience any of these symptoms, it's crucial to consult your doctor immediately. This video isn't designed to scare you. It's about enlightening you. Knowledge is power, after all. So today, to help ensure that you're safe, I will be talking about 10 potential signs that you might have a heart attack. Let's start with number 1, chest pain. I know what you're thinking. You don't need a video to tell you that, because it is the most well-known symptom associated with a heart attack. But it's when it's obvious that most people tend to miss it. The discomfort can almost feel like someone is squeezing your heart, like this. The pressure feels like a crushing sensation in your chest, and it is often said to be felt on the center or left side of your chest and may last for a few minutes. It's important to note that not all the chest pain you feel signifies a heart attack. Sometimes it can be caused by muscle strain, heartburn, or a feeling of anxiety. Just make sure your heart isn't beating like this. Joking aside, if you do experience any serious discomfort in your chest and it's not temporary, please seek immediate medical attention. This brings me to sign number 2, pain, but in the rest of the body. I know what you're thinking. This point relates to pain too. Will the pain and suffering ever end? That's a good question. But the pain associated with a heart attack often goes beyond just chest pain. You might experience discomfort in one or both arms, your jaw, neck, back, or even your stomach. This pain can be sharp or dull, and it's another reason why seeking medical attention promptly is crucial. Surely not all heart attack signs relate to body or chest pain. You're right, they don't. This brings me to sign number 3, shortness of breath. This symptom can occur with or without chest pain. When it is with chest pain, it might be a lot easier to spot, but without chest pain can be a lot more tricky to notice. You might feel a shortness of breath, even while you're resting, and all of a sudden you will switch to manual breathing mode. This symptom is quite unique. It can go from 0 to 100 really quickly, so it is very important to be on the lookout for it. However, you will sometimes feel a lightheadedness, which will make it somewhat easier to spot. Just ensure that you don't start looking like Hank in the elevator. Ultimately, this shortness of breath can be a sign that your heart isn't getting enough oxygen-rich blood to the rest of your body. This brings me nicely to sign number 4, feeling weak or lightheaded. As I somewhat mentioned already, dizziness, lightheadedness, or feeling faint are definite signs to look out for when you fear you might have a heart attack, as these are often signs of decreased blood flow to your brain. But it must be said that the symptoms between men and women when it comes to heart attacks differ. According to this study by the American Heart Association, the symptoms of chest and body pain are more common in men, but women tend to experience symptoms that aren't as commonly associated with heart attacks, like shortness of breath, nausea, and vomiting. So, while looking out for symptoms is important, it is important to consider what your sex is too. This now brings me to the 5th symptom, cold sweats. There are a lot of reasons why you might be sweating. The most common reasons are usually after exercise or to regulate body temperature and maintain homeostasis. But when you're sweating for an unspecified reason, that's when it can get concerning. Let me explain. Unexplained sweating, particularly cold sweats, can sometimes be a symptom of a heart attack. This sweating is caused by the body's response to stress and discomfort. Movies and TV shows often portray heart attacks as dramatic, chest-clutching events, but heart attacks often begin with subtle symptoms, and that is what this video is designed to help you with. It can be tempting to try to downplay the symptoms or brush them off as indigestion or anxiety, but don't tough out heart attack symptoms for more than 5 minutes. So far, I have told you about some of the common symptoms experienced by people before they have a heart attack, but I have 5 more uncommon ones that I have not seen spoken about in any other video. But before I get into that, I would very much appreciate it if you could drop a like on this video and subscribe to this channel to not only hear more about heart news, but to hear about everything when it comes to mental and physical health. Thank you. This now brings me to sign number 6. I've hinted at this sign already when I spoke about how men and women tend to feel different symptoms when it comes to heart health. So sign 6 you might have a heart attack is increased vomiting or nausea. Nausea and vomiting are often linked to signs of indigestion, but they can also be felt when you are going through a heart attack. This can be caused by the body's response to pain and discomfort, or by a decrease in blood flow. According to the British Heart Foundation, not every bout of nausea equals a heart attack, but feeling some discomfort at all is a sign to call the NHS for advice. So, what's my advice? I would say, don't ignore the signs your body is throwing at you. It would be like a computer signaling there is a 404 error. I know it might seem complex and hard to understand, but ignoring the problem and feigning ignorance is not the solution. Ignorance isn't bliss. In a situation that pertains to life and death, this brings me to sign number 7, getting exhausted easily. I know how challenging life can be. Most of the times that I'm attending a lecture or a meeting, I often find myself looking like this. According to this study, if you suddenly find yourself feeling fatigued or winded after doing something you could easily do in the past, it is important to make an appointment with your doctor. Like the nausea and the previous point being relevant to women, this one is too, as extreme exhaustion or unexplained weakness, sometimes for days at a time, can be a symptom of heart disease for women. Let me know in the comments below if you knew that women and men have different symptoms for heart attacks. Sign number 8 is a rapid or irregular heartbeat. This is known formally as heart arrhythmia. While it is normal for your heart to race or skip a beat when you are nervous or excited, if you start to feel heart palpitations, all I can say is it's not looking good. But fear not, as these are a lot more common than you think. Almost 2 million people in the UK suffer from an irregular heart. It's worth noting that preventing arrhythmias is not always possible. So how can you know when something is wrong? Well, the study goes on to say that if you feel the heart attack symptoms I've told you about in this video for a long time, or if there's a history of unexplained sudden death in your family, then it's important for your GP to refer you to a heart specialist as soon as possible. As you probably remember in sign 6, I mentioned that a lot of people think that nausea is a sign of only indigestion when it is also a sign of a heart attack. Well, then it's almost poetic in a way. That sign number 9 is indigestion. It is worth noting that the most common feelings of indigestion usually occur due to pain in digesting food. When you feel pain due to indigestion, it can cause acid reflux, which is a pain in the esophagus, just behind the breastbone. Due to this being exactly where the heart is located, it is often mistaken for a heart attack. This is a misconception that I want to break. Indigestion leads to heartburn. Heartburn is one thing, and a heart attack is another. You might be thinking, why bother mentioning it if they're not the same thing? Well, according to this study by the Mayo Clinic, heartburn itself, caused by indigestion, can accompany itself with the other more common symptoms to then lead to a heart attack. So the next time you feel indigestion, while most of the time it is a cause of heartburn and not a heart attack, just be careful and monitor how long it lasts. This now brings me to sign 10, anxiety. You might be thinking, since I've spoken for so long, I've finally lost my mind. But I haven't. Not yet. While anxiety might seem like an unusual symptom, some people have claimed that before experiencing a heart attack, they feel a sense of overwhelming anxiety or impending doom. Don't just take my word as final, as this study by the Johns Hopkins University helps show that panic attacks and heart attacks often share similar symptoms, and that anyone who is suffering from sudden and severe chest pain, like I mentioned in point number 1, should go to the emergency room. But that study is not all. I am sure you all know that knowing heart attack signs is one thing, but ensuring it never gets to that stage is another. You need to ensure you are eating the right types of foods in your diet. Once I figured it out, it had a huge impact on my heart and mental health. Do you know about the 5 high-protein foods you should eat every day? To learn more about this, press here on the screen to watch.